All right, now let's look at the nature of research in information system. Now, if you look at the different textbook on the definition of information system, you will notice that various author will provide various definition of information system. One of the most common definition of information system is information system being defined as a collection of hardware, software, people, procedure, data that work together to convert data to information to be used by organization. This is the most common, the most accepted or the most used definition of an information system. However, in the context of this course, I have chosen this definition. But in my next slide, I will tell you the different views on defining information system. So, information system definition that I've chosen in this slide is defined as below. It's a scientific field of study that addresses the range of strategic, managerial, operational activities involved in gathering, processing, storing, distributing and use of information and its associated technologies in society and organization. So technologies here normally referring to ICT, combination of hardware as well as software. All right, now, just now I mentioned that information system is being viewed differently by different group of people. So information system can be viewed as technology oriented, where the emphasis or the emphasis is on technological aspect. That means on the hardware and on the software. It has also been viewed from the social point of view, where the emphasis on the socio-cultural aspect. The third view looks into the socio-technical aspect, where it looks into the interaction or interconnection between technology and the social element, human being, community, society. And the last view of information is looking into the process. Remember the generic model of input, process, output. So information system is also being viewed in that manner, where the emphasis is on the activity oriented towards the process involved in the information systems and development. Right. This is one framework which is very popular among IS researcher that provide you a bird's eye view of the scope of information systems research. As you can see, in the discipline of information system, the focus can be on the technology part, you can see, which looks into infrastructure, application, communication, development, and it can also look into the people, where you look into their role, their capabilities, and also their characteristics, okay? And the study of information system can also focus on theory development and also system development. System development here looks into is being defined as artifact. You can focus on the development of decision support system. You can also focus on the development like, transaction processing system. Or you can look into the interaction between users, okay, with the information system, with the artifact itself. For example, you can look into the digital library as the artifact and look its interaction with the user in terms of the usability, in terms of the accessibility, in terms of user friendliness, or in terms of the system's performance, all right? And the way information system is being conducted, as we can see here, the author has provided several examples like case study, experiment, field study, simulation, but this is not exhaustive. There are many other methods that we can use or adopt in doing information system research. And information system research also can be focusing on, as you can see from the diagram, looking into the theory. That means you can develop theory, you can validate theory, model, or framework. Okay, and it can also be looking into methodologies. I'm sure you have heard like system development methodologies like cycle, SDLC, agile methodology, and then object-oriented methodology, structured system analysis and design. These are the different methodology where you can also look. So if you look at the methodology, the orientation is more towards the process of developing information system. All right. So, in order to facilitate or to assist us in deciding what topic that we can look into when doing research, it's best that we look into the unit of analysis. So, unit of analysis is defined as the person or a group of people, group of person, which is collective or even object like information system that is the target of the research or investigation. So typical unit of analysis include individuals, all right, example software developer or IT manager or end user, or it can look into group like IT development team or the organization itself. Okay, the whole organization, or it can be the department like the IT department, or it can also look into countries. So you want to see IT performance across different countries, or you want to make comparison IT consumption or IT investment between Malaysia and Indonesia. Okay, and of course you can look into technology, the hardware, the software, object, the systems, and many. All right. So based on the unit of analysis, we can easily arrive to appropriate research topic in information system. So in this example, I have identified individual as the unit of analysis. Specifically, the individual is actually the software developer. So the topic is on software developer behavior. Here, the behavior is based on the innovative work behavior as well as knowledge creation ability. So based on the topic, I have come up with these research questions, but of course the research questions is actually based on the problem statement, which I will discuss when I elaborate on the research proposal. Okay, so here we have got 3 research questions. Number 1, how do software developer rate their knowledge creation abilities? So this is actually descriptive study. Probably you still cannot relate later on when we do statistical analysis, and I will show you and I will demonstrate to you how we can do descriptive analysis. And then number 2, how do software developer rate their innovative work behavior? This is also descriptive study. And the third research questions is focusing on relationship, which is actually explanatory study. And the specific research question is how do knowledge creation abilities influence innovative work behavior of software developer? There's a typo error. All right, this is another example. Just now we look at individual. As for this one, we look into the group unit of analysis. So we are actually evaluating group as a team, and the topic is IT group behavior. And the specific research question number 1 is how do members of IT project development experience seeking help for any issues or problems they face? You know, in a research team, normally members will have problems. Okay, so how do they solve the problems? Okay, what means do they refer to in order to seek help or assistance? So we want to understand their experiences. So this type of research is very exploratory. And number 2 research question is what does knowledge sharing mean to members of an IT project development? It is also an exploratory study. Well, actually this type of research is very qualitative in nature. So when you go through qualitative research, you will understand that when you compose research questions for qualitative research, you will notice certain words will appear such as experience, meaning, all right, understanding. So this is very common. Okay, now the third example that I'm giving here, focusing on organization. The unit of analysis is organization, the whole organization or a firm. and the informant or the participant who will be responding or participating in the research will be the CIO or CEO, and the specific topic will be knowledge management system. And 3 research questions have been developed. Number 1, how do companies rate their knowledge management systems performance? How do companies rate their firm performance? Is there any significant relationship between knowledge management system and firm performance? Okay, now the difference between organization and also individual unit of analysis is that the person who will be answering the question there, if you are doing survey. Now, if you are doing survey for organization, you just need one representative representing the organization. It can be the CEO, it can be the CIO, basically the one who has the authority to answer on behalf of the organization. That is organization unit of analysis. But when you study individual, you are studying about the person, about the software developer, for instance. So whatever question that you ask is about the person, and he will be answering about himself or herself, not on behalf of the organization. Okay, the last example that I'm giving here is not focusing to any users, people or human, is on the object itself. All right, so we are looking into knowledge management system here, but the topic is on accessibility and usability. Sorry, my son is disturbing a little bit. Okay, we are looking on accessibility and usability. So we are looking at knowledge management systems. We are looking at what you call portal accessibility. Sorry, not knowledge management system, but actually portal. So we are not going to use people, individual, or anybody to respond to the questionnaire, but we are going to use tools. We are going to use tools to evaluate the accessibility and usability of the library portal here. All right, so these are the 4 examples that I have given, okay, based on the unit of analysis. So when you want to determine any research topic, you have to think who or what is the unit of analysis, and then from there you start to think about the topic, and then from the topic you have to think of the context where problem exists, and from there you can start working on your research only. Okay, now this is the learning activity 5. Okay, using the same research report in learning activity 1, the 2 research report that you already identified. Okay, I want you to create a table like I have just discussed. You know, you have that component, unit of analysis, the informant, the topic, and the research questions. Okay, try to read the article and extract if you can see if this information are available or not, and try to present them in the form of this table. If the information is not available, then you can sort of develop yourself based on that research article. Try to come up with your own output, but based on that 2 research article. All right, so this is the element of the thesis and research proposal, you know. Now, for any given thesis, dissertation, master's dissertation or thesis, basically you have got 5 chapters. Chapter 1, introduction. Chapter 2, literature review. Chapter 3, research methodology. Chapter 4, results of findings. Chapter 5, discussion, recommendation, and conclusion. So these are 5 chapters. Now, for a research proposal, normally it will contain the following contents. The first one is the chapter 1, introduction, literature review, research methodology. Of course, these 3 content in the form of research proposal will not be very extensive or comprehensive compared to the final report. Okay, this will be the proposal only. So the essence of that, the elaborated version, the complete version will appear in the final report. But you still have to prepare according to this template. That means you have the introduction, you have the literature review, and you have the research methodology. Okay, now let's look at the chapter 1. So in this session, I will only discuss on chapter 1, because for chapter 2, research methodology, there will be a separate chapter, and for research method, you have got several chapters to discuss. Okay, but you have to understand, in a research proposal, you have to have that literature review section as well as the research methodology section. Now, for the chapter 1, in your research proposal as well in your final research report, you should have the introduction, problem statement, research questions and research objective, definition of terms, scope of research, and finally significance of the research. Okay, now the problem statement. Okay, the introduction will be the introduction to the chapter, overview of the chapter, bird's eye view of the chapter. But the problem statement, this is crucial. So problem statement is actually the discussion of the problem that trigger the need to conduct the research. Okay, basically you will highlight the problem that warrants research. So the essence of that problem statement later on, you can simplify it into what we call research questions. So in the discussion of the problem statement, you will highlight issues, symptoms on or real problem. Okay, issues, topics that are viewed differently, okay, by different people. Example, we talk about vaccination. Some people, okay, vaccination is good. Some other people say is bad. So you want to add on into the literature and you want to verify through research whether it is really good or not. So you highlight this problem, in your problem statement. So your research will later provide some answers whether it is good or it is bad. Okay, and then in the context of knowledge management, in an organization we have got knowledge workers. Some workers are willing to share knowledge, other workers they just keep knowledge to themselves. So what do organization do? They give reward to knowledge worker who are willing to share knowledge. So the issue here is rewarding worker. Is it advisable, or is it good to practice that way? Because some people argue that, well, you are a staff or an employee to that organization, you must follow the requirement, the policy of the organization. If you are required to share knowledge, then you have to share knowledge. After all, you are being paid monthly in the form of your monthly salary. Okay, so there is an issue about that. So what about symptoms? Symptoms is an indication that problem exists. Okay, for example, in an organization, you develop a knowledge portal. People are not using the portal. The features, the functions in the portal are not being utilized by the user. This is an indication that there is some issue with the portal. Why users do not want to use? Why users are abstaining themselves from using the knowledge portal? Or probably users are not very happy with the interface of the knowledge portal. Okay, so problem is a real situation that is considered unwelcoming. People unwelcome is very harmful. Okay, wrong, needing to be overcome. That means you have to solve the problem. So example, faulty output by the knowledge portal. You execute certain function, you get erroneous output from the knowledge portal. Systems embedded in the knowledge portal did not produce accurate output. So that means there's a problem in the algorithm of the information system. Okay, or you develop the portal, you implement the portal, people find it very difficult to use the system, and then they took a long time to master, to fully understand, familiarize themselves with the interface. So this is a problem also. All right, so from the problem statement, you will condense the discussion of your problem statement, and then you will compose what we call research question. So when you write research questions, make sure the research question is very clear, crystal clear. It has to be very focused and narrow to a specific aspect of the study, and then it has to be concise, okay, complex. Okay, so try not to develop research questions where you can just say yes or no. Okay, so that is not a good research questions, and research questions can be sort of arguable. That means you are open to different possible solution, okay, to answer the research questions. Okay, let's look at this table. Okay, now here in this table I've shown you one main problem. The problem here is that software do not demonstrate ability to, software developer, I made a mistake there. Software developer do not demonstrate ability to reinvent, improvise work. They lack of knowledge creation abilities and innovative work behavior. So this is the real problem. And whenever they are being assigned to develop IT systems, okay, the project cannot be delivered on time, they cannot be completed on time, or some of the user requirements are not being fulfilled in the IT project, and you need to spend more. That means over budget. So this is the problem, okay, faced by certain organization. And then when you go and look in the literature, you cannot find ample evidence on literature, okay, about knowledge creation abilities as well as innovative work behavior on software developer. So from the main problem, of course, you have to elaborate, you have to discuss further, so you can later on summarize or condense it in the form of research questions. Actually, I've shown you these research questions. How do software developer rate their knowledge creation abilities? Okay, the sub problem here is that we cannot have any or enough evidence in the literature about knowledge creation abilities among software developer. So we want to find out, okay, then we create the research questions. Same goes to the next one, okay, limited evidence in the literature about innovative work behavior. So we want to know, we want to describe this phenomenon. So we develop this second research questions, okay, how do software developer rate their innovative work behavior? And the last one, there is inconclusive or mixed results, okay, of several studies. Probably you can find several studies, okay. In these studies, you see mixed results. Some say positive, some say negative, some say no relationship. So you want to find out in the context of software developer, in the context where you study, is it positive relationship or no relationship or negative relationship? So you want to again reconfirm this phenomenon. So you embark on explanatory study. Okay, how do knowledge creation abilities influence innovative work behavior of software developers? So you can see from this table your problem statement. Of course, in your actual study later, you don't write as brief as this. Okay, it has to be quite lengthy, the discussion. I just give you the main point. So the problem statement, okay, later on need to be condensed into what we call research questions. Let's look at this second example, okay? Okay, you have problems, okay, with the existing knowledge portal of Malaysian academic libraries, okay, users with disabilities, students with disability, okay, sight ability, disability, okay, hearing disability, probably they cannot get equal chance in accessing resources from the library portal, okay. And then another issue is that when you use a certain type of IT, you cannot access. Probably that particular portal can be accessed using, let's say, a Chrome web browser only. If you want to start accessing using Safari, using your iPhone, you cannot access. Okay, that's another issue. And then when it comes to interacting, okay, with the library portal, user can easily lost. You know, when they click, you know, it leads, when you click on certain hyperlink, it leads to another page. You click to another page, and then when to return to the home page, you cannot easily go back because you easily get lost in the design of the interface. Or when it comes to, you know, when system is already being completed, you provide training, but when you train the user find it very difficult. They take a lot of time to really fully understand or familiarize themselves with the function and the features of the library portal. So here you can summarize the problem into two research questions, which I've already discussed in my earlier slides. You know, how accessible is the knowledge portal, the first one, and how usable is the knowledge portal. All right, so that is research questions. Now, once you have developed your research questions, you can paraphrase the research questions to become your research objective. So when you write research objective, you write starting with the word to, and you use appropriate action verb such as measure, evaluate, compare. Of course, it has to be paired with the word to measure, to evaluate, to compare, to examine, to identify. Okay, you can easily paraphrase, you know, that research question. So research objectives, sorry, this one is supposed to be RO, not RQ. I made a mistake there. It has to follow that smart characteristic, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. Example, you are doing master's project, you have to complete in 6 months time. Okay, make sure the scope, the objective, okay, is being written in a way that it can be achievable in 6 months time. All right, so this is an example how I paraphrase, I reword the research questions to become research objective. Just look at the first example. How do software developer rate their knowledge creation abilities? Okay, that one you can convert or transform into the first one, research question, you can convert into research objective to to measure the knowledge creation abilities of software developer. The rest you can read up by yourself. Okay, so it is easy. You can just reword, paraphrase the research questions. Okay, now the next aspect of your research proposal is the definition of terms. Now, in a research report, there are two parts where you have to provide definition. The first one in chapter 1, which is called definition of terms appearing in the title. Another part is in your research method. Normally you define the variables operationally. So don't be confused between definition of terms for chapter 1 and operational definition for variables in the framework in chapter 3, research method. So before that, you have to understand what is the good advice to compose a research topic. Okay, I have a video on that. You can check on my YouTube site. Okay, in order to write a research title, the best way is to have these three elements. The first one, the topic. Number 2, method. Number 3, the setting. So an example here, knowledge conversion abilities and innovative work behavior. Okay, a survey among software developer of Malaysian Multimedia status company. So from this title, the topic is knowledge conversion abilities and innovative work behavior. Okay, and that is the topic. The method will be a survey. Okay, the setting, software developer of Malaysian Multimedia status company. Accessibility, usability of library portal. That is the topic. Okay, the setting, Malaysian universities. Okay, and then the method, evaluative study. All right, so that's how you should be defining that's how you should be composing, writing your title. So from the title, try to extract the critical words that that can make ordinary people, laymen, not to understand the topic. So you have to define that. So like in this example, I have split into 4 parts. The first one, knowledge conversion ability. So that one you have to define. Here I've given the definition. Okay, the ability of an employee to convert tacit knowledge to tacit knowledge, so on and so forth. Okay, the second term, innovative work behavior. Okay, I have to define that one. Okay, survey, do you have to define? No need. That one is well understood. Even by ordinary reader, ordinary audience can easily understand the term survey. Multimedia status company. Okay, that one you have software developer. Yes, you have to define software developer. And the last one, multimedia status companies. That one also you have to define. All right, you can see the definition there. Okay, like this example, I've split into 4 parts. You have to define accessibility. You have to define usability. You have to define the library portal. You have to define Malaysian university, and then to define evaluative assessment. Okay. Now, this is the next activity. So, using the same research report in learning activity 1. Okay, do you think the title is appropriate? Suggest how you can improve the title. Okay. Okay, now scope of research. Now, scope of research is actually the coverage of the study. So, this coverage can be looked in terms of the variables that will be involved. When you do research, you will develop theoretical framework, conceptual framework. You will have variables inside the frameworks. Okay, when you do your literature review, sometimes you discover many variables, but you will not list or include all those variables. You will only take part of the variables. So those variables that you include, okay, that is considered within the scope. Those variables that you exclude, that means that is beyond the scope of the study. Now, you can also define the scope in terms of respondent. Example, if you study in an organization, you only want to engage executive level. So, non-executive level, you will exclude in the study. Okay, then scope can be also in terms of time horizon, especially when you collect data. So, you can argue that the data that you have collected is between this date to that date. So, that means the findings is applicable within these findings is actually representing the phenomenon on this particular time horizon. Okay, other than that will not be included. Okay, now significance of the study. Now, the essence of significance of study is that, okay, what will happen to the problem that you discuss if no action taken? In other words, if you don't do any research, what will happen to the existing problem? Of course, the problem will aggravate, right? They continue to happen. Example, if you invest in a library portal, Okay, of course, inventing a library portal is not cheap. It's very expensive. But if users do not use the library portal, so it's a waste of money. So you can argue that if there is no research being done, the university will be keep on spending, a lot of money, for the investment is considered a waste, because not many people are using the library portal. So you can highlight the contribution from the following perspective. One is called theoretical perspective, number 2 practical perspective, and the third one's methodological perspective. Okay, theoretical perspective means whether the study will develop new theory, or it will validate existing theory, or it will enhance existing theory, okay, model, or even framework. Okay, that is a theoretical perspective. From the practical perspective, that means how the current study, the findings of current study will help to improve current practice. That means it will enhance the standard operating procedure. The processes, the activity will be improved so that it will become more efficient, more effective. And the significant study also can be viewed if you have developed new method. Okay, normally this is when you are doing PhD. Okay, very rare, but it's still possible. It will develop new method, new formula, for example. All right. So that's the end of our chapter 1, introduction to research, overview of research. Okay, thank you so much for your attention listening to this video lecture. Okay, there are 6 learning activities that I've presented in my lecture. Please spare your time and try to engage in that activity and share your results, your findings, your responses in our online meeting later. Okay, thank you so much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.